Representative Grijalva has earned a 100% record on the Alliance voting record. As the co-chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, he speaks with a clear, powerful, and personal tone about just how important Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid are to people in Arizona and around the country. He has been a great friend of Arizona's seniors, and we have been very proud to run TV commercials to let more people know about this. Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Raul Grijalva.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for that very kind introduction. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Let me thank the organization for their support of my efforts in retaining the position that I have. I'm very grateful for that. In some trying times, Alliance was instrumental in helping me and helping our campaign and helping the people that work with me. And so let me have this opportunity to thank you, and thank you sincerely. Big speech today by our president. A speech with a great deal of anticipation, and a speech that, if all goes well, will set the tone for what the American people want and what the American people desire from their Congress and their government. And one of the things that all of us have heard loud and clear is that Social Security did not cause the federal deficit, and its benefits should not be used to reduce that deficit. We've heard loud and clear that Medicare is an essential insurance program that must be preserved, and that if cost containment is the issue, then we should be looking at cost controls, oversight on the private insurance companies that continue to, and pharmaceutical industry that continues to raise and raise and raise what we're required to pay for basic coverage, and Medicare in protection of its beneficiaries has to follow that trend. If we're going to talk about preserving and enhancing accessibility to health care, then we must be bold enough and strong enough to take on an industry that it had its way for about 4 or 5 decades. That is where cost control and coverage for the American people will occur, and it will not be by undoing the benefits attached to Medicare. I also believe that we heard loud and clear that Social Security should not be means tested, that we shouldn't raise the eligibility age in Medicare, that a chained CPI for Social Security is not a resolution to an issue. That is on the wrong assumption that all costs will remain the same. Social Security is the cornerstone, I believe, of the shared values and the shared responsibilities that we have for one another as Americans. It is a cornerstone about an earned benefit that working folk are not, it's not a question of entitlement or charity. This is earned. And when my dad worked hard his whole life and he retired, he had earned that benefit. And when people with disabilities, people that are left alone, Social Security is there to provide a blanket of comfort, because that is a shared value and responsibility that we have as Americans to each other. And it strikes me as going not at the heart of what we are as a nation when we say that we need to change Social Security, that we need to privatize it, that we need to have cost containment, that we need to control benefits, that we need to control eligibility. On a program that has been earned over generation, that has proven its worth, that by law cannot contribute to the deficit. And this is the program that some people are focusing on. And I know you guys were all glued to the debate last night. The only Ponzi scheme that I saw last night is the foolish thought that if we keep repeating the same economic policies over and over again, that this economy is going to get better. That's the only scheme I heard last night over and over again, that if we just continue to make massive tax cuts for the rich, economy is going to get better. That if we continue tax breaks and subsidies and loopholes for large corporate entities, economy is going to get better. That if we have unregulated financial markets, as we saw in the housing collapse, that things are going to get better. That if we continue in foreign conflicts and wars that are unpaid for, that the economy is going to get better. That's the schemes I heard. We've lost 8 million jobs in the last decade. Our wages are stagnant and dropping. There's a widening income gap and disparity. I think one has to question, when 40% of the wealth in this nation is in the hands of 5% of the people, there is a question to be asked. And so we heard last night, and we continue to hear in some of the discussions, let's repeat those policies again so that we can make the economic well-being of this country stronger. Well, it's not going to happen. We've seen that scenario, and we see the cause and effect of that scenario, and it's time we go in a different direction, a clean direction. Because our anemic economy is not going to be cured by repeating the same mistakes again. It might be a catchy mantra to talk about tax cuts, but it is not. It's cynical and dishonest to continue to promulgate a policy that has failed the American people, failed our economy, and contributed mightily to the unemployment rate in this country. And so we need to go different. And I would suggest that making Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid the culprits in this bad economic times is both cynical and dishonest as well. The root cause we know, and it's curing that root cause that becomes the responsibility of Congress and this administration. So tonight the speech is important. It's important because it's about tone. It's important because it is about defending and protecting the American people. And I have always said that if the American people are allowed to guide its government, we'll be in good stead. American people have said over and over again, leave Social Security and Medicare alone. The American people have said over and over again, you cannot just cut your way out of this budget deficit, you gotta generate revenue. The American people have said over and over again, jobs number one, and then we'll deal with the rest later. The American people have told us over and over again, this is a government that has to respond to those needs of the American people. And for us to believe, as a Congress and as an administration, that we can continue to play around the edges and ignore the opinion and, yes, indeed, the will of the American people, we do that at our own peril. And so as we go forward after this speech, the commitment that I want to make to you, because you've made that commitment to yourselves and to the American people, Social Security not only gets a defense, it gets the protection and the enhancement that it deserves. And two, we're going to go after the root cause. And in turning this economy around, we have to put millions and millions of Americans to work. To turn this economy around, we have to reinvest in our people. The biggest and the strongest and the most outstanding asset this country has, economic asset, is its people. And if we invest in them, and if we take care of them, and if we nurture that asset, and we embolden that asset, if we empower that asset, the times that we're going through right now and the challenges that we're confronting right now will be overcome, will be stronger, richer, more united, and yes, more secure.